My boss was cold, sharp, and dangerous. Everyone feared him. But when his eyes stayed on me too long, when his hand brushed mine, when he whispered close enough for only me to hear, I began to wonder if the rumors were true. Was the man everyone feared secretly burning for me? Want more heart-racing BL love stories like this? Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Cherryboyhearts BL, and never miss a moment of passion, drama, and romance. Now sit back and relax as we continue. When I first walked into Takeda Corporation, my heart raced so fast I could hear it in my ears. This was my dream job. For years I had studied, worked late nights, and pushed myself harder than anyone else I knew. And now, finally, I stood in the tall glass building that touched the sky, holding my ID card in my hand like it was the key to a new world. Everything looked perfect. The polished floors, the shining walls, the quiet hum of people walking fast with serious faces. I wanted to belong here more than anything. But even as I looked around, I could feel a cold weight pressing down on me. It wasn't just the work. It was him, Takeda Ryo, the CEO. Everyone spoke about him in whispers, like he was a god they feared. They said he could fire someone for smiling wrong, for speaking too loudly, for wasting even a second of his time. They said his eyes were sharp like ice, and that one glare from him could cut through your skin. I had never met him, but I had seen him from afar, walking past the rows of desks like a storm in a perfect black suit. His steps were strong, his back straight, his jaw tight. He never smiled, not once. And yet, he had a presence so strong that my chest tightened every time I saw him. I told myself I would work hard, keep my head down, and never get in his way. That was my plan. It should have been simple. But on my very first week, I destroyed it all. It happened in the morning, when I was rushing to bring coffee for a meeting. My hands shook as I carried the tray. I kept repeating in my head, don't spill it, don't spill it, don't spill it. I pushed open the heavy door with my shoulder, trying to be fast, trying not to mess up. But then I felt it, the tray tilted. My hand slipped. The hot cup tipped over. I gasped as dark brown liquid spilled across the floor. But worse, so much worse, was where the rest of it went. Right across Takeda Ryo's white shirt. The room froze. The world stopped breathing. I could only stare in horror as the hot coffee spread across his chest and dripped down onto his black suit pants. My throat closed. My heart jumped into my mouth. He stood there, silent. His hands clenched slowly at his sides. His eyes, those cold, black eyes, lifted and locked on me. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was about to be killed by a look. "Hayashi," he said at last, his voice deep and sharp. "Is this how you work?" His tone was low, but it sliced through me. My knees almost gave out. I opened my mouth, but no words came. My cheeks burned. I bowed fast, so low my forehead nearly touched the floor. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to." My voice cracked. He raised a hand, stopping me. Not loud, not angry, just final. "Enough. Clean it. Then see me in my office." I wanted the ground to open and swallow me whole. Around me, the other workers kept their heads down, silent, pretending they hadn't seen anything. No one wanted to get involved. No one ever would. I cleaned the floor with shaking hands, then walked like a man to the gallows toward his office. The door shut behind me with a heavy click. Takeda stood by his desk, his shirt still stained, though he had taken off his jacket. The sight of him made my chest tight again. His body was tall, his shoulders wide, his frame elegant and dangerous at the same time. His tie hung loose around his neck. I could smell the faint scent of his cologne. Clean, sharp, expensive. "Do you know what that shirt cost?" he asked, his voice like steel. I shook my head, staring at the floor. "More than your monthly pay." Shame burned hotter than fire in my chest. I wanted to cry, but I bit my lip hard. I would not cry in front of him. "I don't hire children," he said slowly, stepping closer. "I hire men who can take responsibility. You want to work here, Hayashi? Then prove you can handle it." "Yes, sir," I whispered. His eyes held mine, and I felt something strange then. Something more than fear. His gaze was strong, but there was a heat there too, hidden under the ice. It made my stomach twist in ways I couldn't explain. He dismissed me with a wave of his hand, but from that moment on, my life became hell. Every day he gave me the hardest tasks. Files to organize that took hours, reports that had to be redone again and again. He would call me out in front of others, pointing at mistakes so small no one else would even notice. I stayed late every night, my eyes heavy, my hands aching, my chest burning with stress. And yet, through it all I kept noticing things I shouldn't. Like the way his eyes would flick to me in meetings, holding for a second too long before turning away. Or the way his voice would soften just a little when he called my name. Once, when I worked until almost midnight, I fell asleep at my desk. I woke to find a blanket draped over my shoulders. No one else was there. It had to be him. Why would someone like him, cold and feared by everyone, do something like that? I tried to push it from my mind, but I couldn't. Each time he walked past me, my body tensed. Each time he leaned close to point at a paper, my heart pounded so hard it hurt. His scent clung to me, clean and sharp, making me dizzy. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was something hotter, something that made my throat dry and my skin burn. But he never smiled, never let me see more than a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. One night, I stayed late again, fixing a mistake in a report. The office was almost empty. My head ached, but I heard voices near the hall. A woman's voice, soft and sweet, trying to sound confident. "Takeda-san, would you join me for dinner? Just the two of us." I froze. My heart skipped. No one had ever dared ask him that. There was a long silence. Then his voice, colder than I had ever heard it. "I don't date women." My eyes went wide. The woman stammered, confused, before leaving quickly, her heels clicking away. I sat there, hidden behind the wall, my whole body trembling. The words echoed in my mind. I don't date women. So all the rumors were true. And worse, I realized with a shock that shook me to my bones. I wanted him even more. After that night, when I heard him say those words, "I don't date women," my world flipped upside down. I couldn't stop hearing his voice in my head. The cold way he said it. The final way he cut her off. I thought about it lying in bed, staring at the ceiling in my tiny apartment. I thought about it on the train the next morning, pressed shoulder to shoulder with strangers. I thought about it even as I sat at my desk, pretending to type while my chest burned with questions I wasn't brave enough to ask. Did that mean what I thought it meant? Was my boss, the man everyone feared, the man I feared, interested in men? The thought made me shake. Not just from fear. From something hotter, something dangerous that spread under my skin. I told myself it didn't matter. Couldn't matter. What kind of fool was I to even think about it? I was just an intern. A clumsy one at that. I had already spilled coffee on him, already ruined my first impression. Why would he ever? No, I couldn't think like that. But my heart didn't listen. My body didn't listen. Every time I saw him, I felt it again. That strange pull. And he didn't make it easy to forget. Every day he kept me close. Out of all the interns, all the staff, he always called for me. "Hayashi, bring me the reports. Hayashi, stay late and redo this. Hayashi, follow me." It was always me. I wanted to believe it was just because he hated me, because I was weak, because punishing me gave him some cruel joy. But sometimes it didn't feel like hate at all. Like the day it rained. I had forgotten my umbrella, and when I ran out of the building, the sky opened above me. Cold drops hit my face, soaking through my shirt in seconds. I groaned, ready to run through it. But then I froze. A shadow fell over me. When I looked up, there he was, Takeda Ryo, my boss, holding a black umbrella high above us both. His face was still hard, unreadable, but he didn't move away. He didn't speak. He just walked beside me, the umbrella steady, the rain falling around us but never touching me. My heart thudded like a drum. I wanted to say thank you, but the words stuck in my throat. His shoulder brushed mine lightly as we walked, and that tiny touch made my whole body burn. By the time we reached the station, My breath was gone. He handed me the umbrella without looking back. "Don't forget it next time," he muttered before walking away. I clutched the umbrella to my chest like it was something precious. Another time I made a mistake in a report. I had mixed up two numbers, and I knew he would yell at me in front of everyone. My palms sweated all day as I waited for it. But when he finally spoke, he didn't shame me. Instead, he fixed the mistake himself before the meeting, sliding the report back onto my desk with nothing but a look. It was small. It was nothing. But to me, it was everything. I started noticing more things that made no sense. The way his eyes lingered on me in the office when he thought I wasn't looking. The way he seemed to always stand closer to me than he needed to. The way his voice dropped low when he said my name, like it was something he wasn't supposed to enjoy but did anyway. I told myself it was just my imagination, that I was reading too much into it. But late at night, when I lay awake in the dark, I could still feel his eyes on me. And worse, I wanted it. I wanted his eyes, his voice, his cold attention. I hated myself for it, but I couldn't stop. The push and pull between us grew sharper every day. I tried to keep my distance, but he wouldn't let me. Every task, every order, every cold word dragged me back to him. I told myself I was afraid of him, but I was also drawn to him in a way that scared me more than his anger ever could. It all came to a head one night. I had stayed late again, typing a report with my eyes heavy, my back aching. The office was empty and silent, the city lights glowing outside the tall windows. I thought I was alone, until I felt it, that heavy presence behind me. I turned, and there he was. Takeda Ryo stood in the doorway, his jacket gone, his tie loose, the top button of his shirt undone. His dark hair fell a little over his eyes, and the sight of him like that, less perfect, less controlled, stole the air from my lungs. "Why are you still here?" he asked, his voice low. I'm finishing this report," I said quickly, trying to steady my shaking hands. He stepped closer, slow, his shoes clicking against the floor. "Always working, always staying late. I don't want to disappoint you." My voice was too soft, but I couldn't help it. His eyes narrowed, watching me too closely. "Disappoint me?" He leaned forward, resting one hand on the desk beside me, the other on the back of my chair, trapping me, his body so close that I could feel the heat rolling off him. My breath hitched. I couldn't move, couldn't look away. His face was inches from mine, his voice dropping even lower, rougher, almost like a growl. "Tell me, Hayashi, why do you keep looking at me that way?" My lips parted, but no sound came out. My chest rose and fell too fast. I could feel his breath against my skin, warm and dangerous. I didn't even know what my answer was. I didn't know if I was terrified or if I wanted to lean forward, close that tiny space between us. All I knew was that my secret was no longer safe. And he knew it too. The weeks dragged on like fire and ice. Every day, Takeda Ryo gave me more to do. More reports, more tasks, more reasons to keep me close. Sometimes I told myself he just hated me, that he wanted to break me down until I quit. Other times, I told myself the opposite, that maybe he didn't want me to leave at all. But no matter what I believed, one thing was true. I couldn't breathe around him anymore. Every look he gave me made my chest tight. Every time his hand brushed mine when he passed me papers, heat spread through me. And every night, I lay in bed, staring at the dark, remembering the sound of his voice when he whispered close, "Why do you keep looking at me that way?" I thought I could survive it. I thought I could hold it in. But then came the mistake. It was a Thursday evening. I was tired, my eyes burning from staring at the screen too long. I had rushed a financial report, mixing up two numbers again. Small but important. I didn't see it until he stormed into the office, the papers clutched in his hand. "Hayashi," he said, his voice sharp, low, dangerous. I jumped to my feet, my throat dry. "Sir, do you even care about this company?" His hand slammed the papers down on my desk, the sound echoing through the empty floor. His eyes burned into me. "Do you have any idea what your mistake could cost us?" "I'm sorry," I whispered, my hands trembling. Sorry doesn't fix this. He leaned closer, his face inches from mine. You think this is a game? You think this is a place where mistakes are allowed? I shook my head fast. My heart pounded so loud I thought he could hear it. And then, something shifted. Instead of yelling again, he gripped the edge of my desk hard, his knuckles white, his jaw clenched. His breath came faster, heavier. His eyes didn't just look angry anymore. They looked desperate. Before I could move, before I could even think, he snapped. In one motion, he grabbed me by the wrist and pinned me back against the desk. My breath hitched. My whole body pressed against the hard wood. His hand pressed flat against the desk beside my head, trapping me. His other hand caught my chin, tilting my face up until I had no choice but to meet his eyes. Do you have any idea? He whispered, voice rough and broken. What you're doing to me? My body froze, heat rushing through me so strong it felt like I might burn. His face was so close I could feel his breath on my lips. His eyes weren't cold anymore. They were wild, hungry. My voice cracked. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what I was doing to him. All I knew was that my chest was on fire, my pulse racing like it wanted to break free. He closed his eyes for a second, like he was fighting himself. Then he spoke again, his voice lower, softer, trembling. Do you want to know why I never married? I swallowed hard, nodding slowly. His grip on my chin softened, his thumb brushing against my skin in a way that made me shiver. Because I can't love women. He opened his eyes, staring straight into me. I've never been able to. I've only ever wanted men. And now, his breath caught. Now all I want is you. The words hit me like lightning. My legs almost gave out. He wanted me. I should have been afraid. I should have pushed him away. He was my boss. This was wrong. But my heart didn't care. My body didn't care. I had wanted this, wanted him more than I could admit even to myself. Before I could think, before I could stop myself, I whispered, "Then take me." His eyes widened. For one long second, he stared at me like he couldn't believe what I had just said. Then all at once, the space between us disappeared. His lips crashed against mine. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't careful. It was desperate, hungry, years of silence breaking open at once. My hands clutched at his shirt, feeling the warmth of his body under the fabric. His mouth moved against mine, hot and fierce, stealing the breath from me until I thought I would melt. I had kissed before, but nothing like this. Nothing that made me shake from the inside out. Nothing that made me feel like I was falling and flying at the same time. His hand slid to the back of my neck, pulling me closer, holding me like he was afraid I might vanish. I moaned softly against his lips, and the sound seemed to break something in him. He deepened the kiss, pressing me harder into the desk, his body flush against mine. Heat rushed through me, my skin tingling everywhere he touched me. Fear and desire tangled inside me, making me dizzy, making me weak. And yet, I didn't want him to stop. I wanted more. I wanted him. But then, as suddenly as it started, he tore himself away. He stepped back, chest heaving, his hand still gripping the desk like he needed to hold on to something or he would lose control. His eyes were wide, wild, filled with something I couldn't name. "Stay away from me," he muttered, his voice hoarse, broken. "Stay away from me, or I'll lose control." My lips tingled. My body burned. My heart screamed at me to reach for him again, to pull him back, to beg him not to stop. But I couldn't move. I just stood there, breathless, my hands shaking, watching him turn away from me like the kiss had been a mistake he wished he could erase. And yet, even as fear coiled tight in my chest, one truth rang louder than anything else. He wanted me, and I wanted him too. After that night, when Takeda kissed me then pushed me away, nothing felt the same. Days passed, but the memory burned in me like fire that would never go out. Every time I saw him across the office, my lips tingled with the ghost of his. Every time his eyes met mine, even for a second, I remembered how they had looked that night, wild, desperate, hungry. He had told me to stay away. He had said he would lose control. But I couldn't. I didn't want to. I tried to keep my head down, but my body betrayed me. My heart jumped every time I heard his voice. My breath caught every time he walked too close. It was torture, wanting him and pretending I didn't. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. It was late again. Another night when the office was empty except for me. I told myself I would finish a report, but my hands only typed one sentence before freezing. My chest ached. My whole body ached. I couldn't keep pretending. I stood, my legs weak but my mind clear. I walked to his office, each step heavier than the last. The door was closed, the light glowing under the crack. My heart thudded as I raised my hand. For a moment, fear stopped me. Then I knocked. "Come in." His voice called low and even. I pushed the door open. He was at his desk, sleeves rolled up, tie loose, eyes tired but still sharp. When he saw me, his face hardened. "Hayashi," he said slowly, "what are you doing here?" I closed the door behind me, my hands trembling. I need to talk to you." His brow furrowed. "If this is about work." "It's not." The word came out louder than I meant, and his eyes narrowed. I stepped closer, my voice shaking but firm. "I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pretending. You told me to stay away, but I don't want to. I can't." For a long second, silence filled the room. His gaze locked on mine, dark and unreadable. Then he stood, slow and dangerous, like a storm rising. "Do you have any idea what you're saying?" His voice was low, rough, but not angry, something else. Something darker. "Yes," I whispered, my hands clenched at my sides. "I want you." The air between us cracked. In 2 steps, he was in front of me. His hand caught my wrist, pulling me close, so close our chests nearly touched. His eyes searched mine, his breath heavy. "Say it again," he growled. My throat went dry, but I forced the words out, my heart pounding. "I want you, Takeda." That was all it took. His mouth crashed onto mine, fiercer than before, stealing every breath from me. His hands gripped my waist, pulling me tight against him. I gasped, and he deepened the kiss, his tongue sliding against mine, his hunger raw and unrestrained. I clutched at his shirt, my fingers digging into the fabric. The world spun, my body melting into his, fear and desire mixing until I couldn't tell them apart. He lifted me slightly, pressing me back against his desk, his body towering over mine, caging me in. Every touch, every kiss was desperate, like he had been starving and I was the only thing that could save him. I moaned softly against his lips, and the sound broke something in him. He pulled back just enough to speak, his forehead pressed to mine, his voice shaking with need. "Tell me," he whispered. "Tell me who owns you." My breath caught. His eyes burned into me, not cold now but filled with fire, with something that looked almost like pain. For the first time, I saw not the terrifying boss everyone feared, but a man, lonely, vulnerable, aching. And I realized the truth. He wasn't just asking for control. He was asking for me, for my heart, for the piece of me I had never given anyone. "You do?" I whispered back, my voice breaking. "You own me." His grip tightened, and a low sound escaped his throat, half a growl, half a groan. He kissed me again, softer this time but deeper, like he wanted to pour every secret, every wound, every hidden desire into me. The night blurred after that. His hands on me, mine on him, our kisses fierce then tender, our bodies pressed close as if we could fuse into one. It wasn't about power anymore, not really. It was about need. About 2 men who had been alone too long, finally giving in to what they had both been running from. We didn't go all the way. It didn't matter. The way he held me, the way he touched me like I was the only thing keeping him alive, that was enough to set my soul on fire. When at last we pulled apart, both of us breathless and trembling, he leaned his forehead against mine, his voice raw. "You're mine now. Don't forget that." I nodded, tears stinging my eyes, not from fear but from the weight of what had just happened. I had stepped into the fire, and I didn't care if I burned. The world outside still existed, the company, the whispers, the danger if anyone found out. The power between us wasn't equal. There would be challenges, maybe even heartbreak. But as he held me in his arms, his walls finally down, I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't alone anymore, and neither was he. The next morning, the office buzzed as usual. People whispered, typed, rushed. To them, nothing had changed. But to me, everything had. I sat at my desk trying to focus when I felt it, his presence. Takeda walked past, tall and cold as ever, the boss everyone feared. But as he passed me, he leaned just close enough for only me to hear. "You're mine now," he murmured, the faintest smirk curling his lips. "Don't forget that." Heat rushed through me, my chest tight, my heart racing. No one else knew. No one else would ever guess. But I knew. And from that moment on, I belonged to him. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to listen to more next time, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Cherryboyhearts BL. Hit the bell so you never miss the next episode of love, passion, and heart-stealing moments.